Hello and welcome to a new series where I show you how I use the MPR method. I use it every day. I really practice what I preach, and I just hope that by showing you the various ways that I use it, you can try to incorporate it into your own day-to-day life and the way you plan and schedule. So I considered a lot of ways of how to showcase this, and I have a notebook that I use, and of course I'm all about using pen and paper, and I thought maybe I could film my actual physical notebook, but then I reconsidered it because that notebook is quite personal to me. So I still wanted to give you an insight on what I do without making it too personal, if that makes sense. So I'll just be showing you on the actual MPR layouts that I use, but just the digital version. So I hope this helps and you can see the exact layout that I use and the exact way that I use MPR. So today's plan is, first of all, I'm using the MPR daily planning page here. I decided to have a mindful day because I've had several productive days and I really just wanted to slow things down and make sure I'm focusing on what I'm doing. I'm very easily prone to burnout, so I always check in with my focus and make sure that I'm having a balance between mindful, productive and relaxed days. So the first activity I chose to do was to plan next steps, and this basically means for like my business, I'm kind of at a point where I feel like I'm always starting and restarting and starting and restarting. So I like to take time to stop and think about what I'm actually doing. And so that means kind of stepping back and taking a look at the bigger picture. And at first it can be kind of frustrating because the big picture doesn't come straight away and the answers don't come straight away, but I have to give myself the space to actually look at what I'm doing and not just go ahead with anything just because I feel frustrated that things aren't moving quickly enough or I'm not achieving enough or something like that. So that's what my mindful activity was for today. And then for my productive activity, it does look like a task, but I understand it as an activity. So I write articles for Substack as part of the Pensive newsletter, and it's just something that needs to get done. But the reason I labeled it as an activity is because the podcast is kind of never ending. So it's not something that I can just do once, I just have to keep doing them. And I honestly I'm always thinking about how to write around and expand on each podcast. So you're not just viewing the video, you get some like extra bits or a bit more inside info or something. So that's something I've yet to do. And then for my relaxed activity today, I'm really into mythology. I'm currently reading a book about African myths. So that just kind of chills me out because some of the stories are just really wild. I honestly think like it's just so imaginative and fun, and I like to have a bit of fun and imagination as part of my day. So that's my relaxed activity. And I'm gonna do my best to leave this video in real time so you can see that I have to think for a while before I write down my plans. It takes me quite a while to decide what I want to do as an activity, and I think, what kind of day do I want to have? What kind of mindset do I actually want to do this activity with? Does this actually fall under MPR? So I hope by you seeing the pauses in between each written activity or what I'm writing, you know, it helps you to take time for yourself. So to reinforce my mindful activity for the day, I wrote today's focus as realigning my plans and planning steps for the future, just so that's like really cemented in my daily routine. Maybe it feels a bit repetitive, but I don't know, some like you can't come up with new things all the time. The next step is just scheduling in my activities for the day. I just write morning routine in shorthand, so I know what that means, and I kind of just, I'm not super, like, I used to be very, very strict about where I place things on my schedule, but at this point I know that I'm not going to wake up at the same time every day. I know roughly what time it is, so that's why kind of my morning routine stretches out for so long. But the other activities I do are quite fixed, I think. So yeah, when it comes to the morning routine, I know what it is I'm doing and kind of when I'm doing it. But that's the whole point of the routine planning page, is to just give yourself a bit of grace, especially in the morning and in the evening, you know, when you can't really plan for everything. Today I'm gonna go to the gym and then have a shower and lunch. I don't know why I put in shower. I don't know. And then I just put in every activity that I'm gonna include for the day. The diagonal lines represent breaks, because again, the whole point of the schedule is to kind of put boundaries in your activities, not just to tell yourself to do them, but also when to stop. So if you plan ahead for your breaks, it feels, the schedule feels less oppressive, I think. And yeah, just make sure you include everything on your mindful activities, or your MPR activities list, and that's it. Usually I would also include and like schedule in the tasks. I think, well, you'll see in a bit, the tasks that I wrote down are kind of included within the activities, and one will literally take me 10 minutes, so I didn't bother writing them in this time. But usually if it's like a longer task, like projects or something, then I'll definitely schedule it in. And then I just highlight. I just love having color. In my personal art projects and stuff, my art is very, very colorful, and in my day-to-day life, how I dress as well is quite colorful. So I think that comes across in my personal planning. Like, I would just choose every color under the sun, and I don't really think about whether it's like aesthetically pleasing or not. I like colors. I like to keep it colorful and fresh. I think while I do this, I also just remind myself about the duration that I've set for each activity. So each square represents 10 minutes. I'm conscious of how much time I've given myself for each activity. So I just make sure the highlight covers the right amount of squares. So as you can see, my day has pretty much been broken down hour by hour, and you can choose to stick to it rigidly, but as with many things, you just have to go with the flow with life, because things come up unexpectedly. But my kind of general rule is just plan ahead. Just do yourself the favor of planning ahead to release all the stress of thinking on the spot of what it is I need to do and when I need to do it and all that kind of stuff. So as long as you've got something in place, then you can allow for the flexibility afterwards. And then the next thing I did was write out my list of tasks. Right now I've not got much going on, surprisingly. I think recently I've just been blasting through all my tasks. So I think that's why I've just allowed myself the space to be more mindful, because I think, I've done the productive stuff. I've done all the tasks. Like, you don't have to keep going. You don't have to keep adding tasks for the sake of adding tasks to feel like you're achieving something. So just allow yourself the time to step back and observe what you've done. How is it contributing towards what you want to achieve? Does it even matter? Are you adding things unnecessarily? Like I feel like a lot of the time I just write things down for the sake of, oh, I need to do this, and then I do it and it doesn't add anything. It actually is more of a burden than anything. So it just sometimes you just need the bird's eye view of what you're doing. Just visually, I like to have like a title kind of, which is why I wrote pensive kind of in bold, and then underneath that the tasks that fall under pensive, and then the arrow is just me thinking like, do I need to do this social media calendar today? No. So I put an arrow to the left to indicate that I'll move it back to my master task list, and then I'll find another day to do that, because I don't think it's relevant right now. I think it was one of those things where it's a task I felt like I should do that. I should this is something I should do, but when I thought about it, I was like, no, actually let me consider this first before I actually go ahead and put that extra work on myself. And yeah, the last thing I had to do, I had to find a blender. I broke my blender recently. I was making a smoothie. The fruit was ice, it was frozen, and I stuck it all in the blender without crushing it up, and it broke the blender. So yep. But yeah, that's how I usually plan my day. I hope this helps somewhat, and I'll be doing various versions of these, more kind of planning my day and various other MPR layouts. Oh, and before I forget, because I am terrible with sales pitches, I have a course for the MPR method, and you can watch a video about it on this YouTube channel. And if you are interested in furthering your knowledge in this creative life management system, then there is a course on pensive.studio.